Hey there. It is a good day here on the property. I finally got enough rain and I got a waterfall. I actually blocked up my little overflow here a little bit more because I'd like to get that touching, but that flow goes all the way back up to them hills, and then the other one I cleared out is flowing too, and they actually made their way together. So it's nice to know all the work I did was not in vain. It helped. The creeks are flowing on this property again, and the more it runs like this, the deeper it cuts. Instead of just running on top of the leaves real slow, it's actually making a little trench for itself. And that means the hard work for me on that has come to an end for a little bit. So it's filling it up on down, and I dammed it up a little bit. It keeps flowing and flowing. And there's little spots where leaves are clogging it up, but right now this looks kind of nasty. But over time, this is where I chose to throw a bunch of sticks and leaves, and I'm kind of letting all of that creek push up against this. So since I just did this, and this big log right there, it was already there, but I kind of piled a bunch of stuff against it. And you can see water's getting through here, and there's spots on that way, which is starting to get towards not on my property. But, and I actually stacked some sticks up over there too to slow the flow down, because past me gets plenty of water, but I have not had water on this property till today. Not like this anyways. So there's a pretty decent storm. My plan where the work is really going to start is I'm probably, after seeing how this works and it's more of a wet weather, I'm probably going to end up digging here and going deeper and deeper, and then eventually wider and wider. And over time, I will probably have a small pond, and we'll see what nature does once I have kind of a reservoir here that eventually spills over and continues on down the line. But it holds gallons and gallons and gallons of water on my property, which through the summer will be nice. And if I can get a pond full enough and big enough, then I can stock it with fish. So it may not be a drinking water source as far as a awesome spring, but it could turn into a really nice pond that, based on what I've seen in Texas, well, if it gets this much flow from one good storm, it'll be full most of the year. So I'm just kind of poking around out here, and I was really happy to come down and find that today. I was wondering if this was gonna, I have a creek on my property. That wasn't even in the advertisement for it. And wet weather or spring fed or whatever, it's just cool that, well, that both sides of this, you know, a lot of the places I've owned had creeks on the property. You had a creek, but the other side of it was actually the property line for somebody else, and I can walk clear up there. The fence is at the top of that hill, and that's all actually mine. So it's pretty cool to know that. It looks like I'm gonna have a pond, not anytime super soon. What'll probably happen is I'll wait till this dries out and then start extending my banks right there and going deeper for sure, because as I go deeper, there's the possibility of catching more groundwater that's cleaner. And I'm just happy to know that my theories were right. Clearing them waterways, man, is really, I mean, you can see it just cutting right through the woods and dumping into this hole. So that was my idea, and so far it's worked. Now I just have to keep my eye out for, with this much water, where exactly, if I see places that continue to run without a couple of days of rain, where it's still steady pouring out, well, that's where you can kind of, I probably won't do too much more digging, because I dug a couple holes and now those have to fill up before there's a flow, and they'll eventually get full of rocks and sediment. But I was just curious if I could find a spring one day, and it didn't work out. So, but right now this is pretty cool. So I'm hanging out down here watching my waterfall, and I'm pretty excited. I'll talk to y'all later.